Hello, I am here with AnaMaria Curtis, the author of Lockpick, Locked Heart, another story in the Reinvented Heart. Um, it is a terrific story, and one of the things that I love about it is that it really hits the ground running with this beginning. So I'm going to read that beginning, and then we're going to talk about it. Uh, Whenever I look at Lenny the right way, in the light of a fire in the evening, her dark hair edged red, or across the kitchen island mid-laugh, the numbness comes and removes me from my nerve endings, an unpleasant physical static. My vision goes rosy, and words splash themselves across my vision in white capital letters. Paywall. Please proceed to emoreg.com for more information. And I'm just like, boom, you've got the problem and the situation and the characters there. And so I was curious, how did this story come to you?
Yeah, so this honestly, like I wrote this story based on the like open call for submissions for the Reinvented Heart because I just thought that the theme was so like amazing. And I wanted to write something that was about sort of the thing, like the building blocks of love and sort of what that, what love is and what love isn't, and like how sort of far can you subdivide the concept of love, and like when does that sort of start to sort of seep into other things. And so I thought, oh well, also like what if you could paywall emotions, right? Like what if you could just stop yourself from being able to access these things, and what would happen if the company that was behind that wasn't around anymore, right? And I think that that's something that, like, in terms of like medical advancements and things like that, like, is something that's going to continue to be an issue
Oh,
that we
yeah.
see in the future. um, and so, sort of based on that, I had the idea of, maybe most of humanity has left Earth, and I wanted to set it somewhere that wasn't the U.S. just because I think that that's like the sort of like the baseline for me, because I live in the US, but I have family in Colombia. I'm Colombian American. And so I had visited Colombia and Chiquinquirá and wanted to just sort of like see what that looked like in a slightly different space. For some reason, the mountains were like really a big part of my like conception of the story.
Awesome. Okay. At what point did the title come to you?
Very late. So titles are not my strong point at all. And I actually, for most of the time that I was drafting and revising this, I called it Steal My Heart. Because, the idea is sort of like the breaking in. And so Lockpick, Locked Heart was actually, I believe, something that came in conversation with you and Jen.
Oh,
Um, and what I liked about it was the fact that the lockpick in this case is Lenny, right? Who's the love interest. And so she's the one who's sort of like unlocking these things, within the narrator, and also the literal physical box that like holds the narrator's love. And so I thought that that was a good sort of duality.
I'm pretty sure that was Jen because Jen was really good with those kind of details. She's just amazing to work with. So I have to ask, this is an obvious question. What is the most frustrating paywall that you yourself have ever encountered?
I think for me, the New York Times crossword. Um,
Ah,
yeah, I now like have it and pay for it, but there was a time that in New York Times cooking also, right?
yeah,
Like the
yeah,
recipes, because the recipes section is so good.
yeah.
And I was constantly trying to find ways around it, and I give up.
I know that feeling, like erase the cookies and like, it's not working. Oh gosh. Well, so if the book is about relationships, and if you were going not forward in time, but backward, what would you tell your younger self about relationships? What advice might you give them?
Great question. I think I would just sort of say, there are cool and interesting people like everywhere you're gonna go. Um, but you do have to find them, right? Like you have to look for them. And I think in the past, maybe I was not as willing to sort of put myself out there and try to like find people and try to like actively seek entry
Yeah.
into communities that I wanted to be a part of or that I thought were really interesting. And so just, yeah, like, don't be afraid to be like, yeah, I want to be part of this. I want to like know people.
That's absolutely. And I think when we're young, we are so kind of scared to put ourselves out there. So I think that's great advice. So what are you working on right now?
Oh my gosh, I'm in the middle of a ton of revisions right now. I do a lot of short stories, so yeah, I'm in like, draft 3 of one thing, draft 5 of another, draft 2
Awesome.
of something else.
Do you have anything out right now that people should be looking for?
Yes,
Yeah.
I have a story. So I believe it's available in ebook form in Beneath Ceaseless Skies as of today. Um,
Oh,
yes, so that's called the 10 Fruits of Rhylinus.
awesome.
Um, Also kind of inspired by Columbia, actually, just in terms of like the fruit. um, and then I have something coming out in Fireside later in the spring, and I think something in Uncanny a little later in the year.
Awesome. Well, I will look for the Beneath Ceaseless Skies and include the link to in the video. So it will be, in theory, in the description below us when this appears. Who knows? The miracles of time here.
Awesome.
All right. I am closing down. This has been another installment of Reinvented Heart interviews. And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me, AnaMaria. Take
Thank you
care.
so much for having me.